Good evening and welcome to tonight's special edition of the International News Bulletin, where we will be reviewing the implications of Brexit for Britain. Tonight we will begin by looking at the impact of Brexit on the freedom of movement. Over to our correspondent in Gibraltar, Julia Jones. Julia.
Thank you. I'm in Gibraltar speaking to Alison, one of a million Britons living in Spain. As a Briton living in Europe, how do you feel about the Brexit result?
Me preocupa que mi familia tenga que trasladarse. Vinimos aquí después de mi despido y ahora nos sentimos fuertemente integrados en la comunidad y hablamos español con fluidez. Mi resultado ideal de todo esto sería que el movimiento de los británicos en Europa no está limitado.
Thank you, Alison. The EU is a leading donor of humanitarian aid for refugees who are currently arriving to the EU, providing over 72% of its annual aid budget to projects. The UK's target is to accept 20,000 refugees by 2020. We go over to our correspondent who's reporting on the situation from Calais.
Thank you, Scarlett. I spoke to a mother fleeing from Syria with her two children aged 7 and 10. She talked to me about her hopes to take her children to the UK.
I want a better future for my children in the UK where they can be safe and have a good education. They have already lost their father, and my eldest hasn't been to school in 2 years due to the fighting. It breaks my heart.
This is Delphine, a young French mother volunteering in the Calais jungle. She's here to share her thoughts on the outcome of Brexit and the refugee crisis.
Il a été difficile de voir des enfants risquer leur vie pour se rendre en Grande-Bretagne. On a beaucoup parlé de contrôle les frontières pendant la campagne pour le Brexit, mais je pense que chaque pays a une responsabilité morale d'aider les réfugiés.
Thank you, Delphine.
Now we will take a look at how Brexit will impact Britain's trade deals. Article 50 sets a 2-year window to negotiate a new legal basis for Britain's trade relationship with the EU. On the line we have leading economist Amelia Muller. Emilia, what problems face Britain following its decision to leave the EU?
Derzeit können die britischen Unternehmen tariffrei und quotenfrei mit der EU handeln. Während der Verhandlungen für ein neues Handelsabkommen gibt es nichts, was Brüssel stoppen könnte, um Tarife zu verbringen. Das Vereinigte Königreich kann natürlich mit Vergeltungszöllen drohen, aber es bedeutet, dass Verbraucher auf beiden Seiten des Kanals leiden. Großbritannien muss mit den Verhandlungen und der Schaffung neuer Handelsabkommen mit den USA und China beginnen und beschließen, im Binnenmarkt zu bleiben, um sich eine stabile Position in der Welt zu sichern.
Thank you, Amelia. In this next segment, we will be discussing human rights. Russia is not a member of the EU, but is a signatory of the European Convention on Human Rights. Diana, what could withdrawal from the EU mean for the UK?
Выход из ЕЛ означает, что Великобритания больше не должна соблюдать Устав ЕЛ об основных правах. Однако Великобритания по-прежнему может оставаться подписантой Европейской конвенцией о правах человека, но сильный международный ограничитель обратного хода отпадет.
Thank you for that, Diana. In our final segment, we look at the implications of the deep generational divides illustrated by the Brexit vote. Britain's youngest voters will spend the coming decades living with the consequences of Brexit, even though most of them voted to remain. We go to Downing Street live to a protest.
We need to vote. It's our future. We're the ones who are going to be dealing with the consequences. We need the vote.
I just hope that the referendum shows that it's so important for young people to be politically engaged, and I just think we deserve the vote.
I make important life decisions in everyday situations, and I think we should have the right to vote at 16.
How do you think that relates to Brexit?
Because we're the ones that are going to have the implications. Like, we're going to be the ones dealing with it, and it's going to affect us more than the older generation.
Following the referendum, we've been faced with many uncertainties. How is the UK's place in the world going to change?
Will we be a country that demonstrates our belief in the value of equality, tolerance and kindness?
Will we continue to value the enormous contributions that Europe has made to the UK, or will we isolate ourselves from the benefits of cooperation?
We may face a challenging period of history ahead, but this should not change our ability to influence the world around us.
That's all we have time for this evening. Thank you for watching.
Good night.